What's going on, guys? Rick here. I'm back with another video, and I'm here to discuss something that I've been waiting for quite some time. I'm here to discuss the LG V30, my thoughts, my initial impressions of the phone from what I've been seeing so far. Now, I don't actually have my hands on a unit as of yet, but as soon as I get my review unit, I'll go ahead and make a video for you guys. But real quick, I just want to discuss my initial impressions of the LG V30, and I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised, and I think a lot of people in the industry are really surprised at how nice this phone is. And it's being dubbed the content creator's phone, and it regains that title that it once had before, with all its manual modes and things that you could do in regards to photography and video recording. So that's pretty cool. So without further ado, let's get into some of the specs of the phone, and then we're going to discuss our overall thoughts about it. So real quick, it's going to come in with a 6-inch display. Now, even though the display is very big, it's still in a smaller form factor. It's a lot smaller than the Note 8, and I think this is its direct competition right now is the Galaxy Note 8. It's going to have a 6-inch display, 1440 by 2880. So it has that 18:9 ratio, something similar to the G6. And people saying this is a cross between a Galaxy S8 and an LG G6 sandwiched together, and you have the V30. You are going to have a 16 megapixel standard lens, and it's going to have a 1.6 aperture. So this is the widest aperture offered on a cell phone or any kind of smartphone or any kind of device out there, smartphone device out there right now. So it'll allow a lot more low light shots and a lot more light to get into the lens, as well as the actual camera lens itself. Most smartphone manufacturers, they make this lens from plastic. This is going to be from a crystal clear piece of glass. So there's a lot of hype around this camera. In addition to that, you'll have an upgraded wide angle camera that LG's been known for with the V20, the G6, and so on. So you're going to have a 13 megapixel wide angle camera, and there's some software tweaks in there and some hardware tweaks to get rid of that whole fisheye look, because on the G6 and also on the V20 you had this fisheye warping towards the end of the wide angle shots, and this will do a lot to detract from that and make sure you don't get that fisheye look. Only one disappointing thing to me, it's still rocking 4 gigabytes of RAM. So that's not to be said that 4 gigabytes of RAM won't work well on this phone. It won't, do justice to this phone. I'm actually filming right now on an S8, and it has 4 gigabytes of RAM itself, and it works perfectly fine. No issues, no major problems with stuttering and things of that nature, and I don't anticipate that happening with the V30. Would have liked to see 6 gigabytes of RAM to go completely head-to-head against the Note 8, but it will be having 4 gigabytes of RAM and the Snapdragon 835 processor. So now they're also going to be launching a Plus variant at the same time, and from what I was watching from their live stream, the Plus variant is just going to have more internal memory. But from what I've been seeing online, it's gonna it'll have additional RAM as well. So we're gonna have to wait and see once that actually drops to see if it does have 6 gigabytes of RAM. Maybe the Plus variant is something to really look at. Nothing special in regards to battery capacity. It's a 3300 milliamp battery. That's pretty standard across the board right now. That range between 33 and 35. I know the Note 8 has a 3300 milliamp battery down from a 3500 milliamp battery. So some of the things I really like about this phone as well, before we get into some of the other specs, is really the design and the form factor of it. So it's IP68 waterproof, water resistant and dust resistant, not waterproof, but water resistant. So it does have that coating on there. Fingerprint scanner where it should be. If you're putting it on the back of the device, the fingerprint scanner should be beneath the camera, not next to the camera. Samsung, no shots, no pun intended. So yeah, those are some of the things I'm really liking about the V30. And it was pleasantly surprising. Now the next thing is going to be is the V30 is going to have 600, well, at least on T-Mobile. Let me get to that next slide that I have here. Where is it? Is this here? Yes. So on T-Mobile, the V30 is going to debut with. It's going to be the first phone this fall to have 600 megahertz LTE support. So a lot of people in a lot of rural areas that might not have great reception with that, it's going to be the first phone launched on T-Mobile with that 600 megahertz spectrum. So you'll be able to get a lot more reception or a lot better quality in regards to LTE and in addition to that call quality. Would I like to see some dual speakers? I know that the front earpiece, the front speaker, the front grill at the top where the earpiece would go will also double as a microphone. So LG put a lot of emphasis in regards to their sound quality and a lot of their things, a lot of the sound quality based on having the front earpiece double as a speaker as well. It is going to have Gorilla Glass 5 on both sides. I know the G6 had 5 on the back and I think 4 or 3 on the front, which was kind of odd, but it will have Gorilla Glass 5 on both sides. It'll be out of the box with Android Nougat 7.1.2. We already mentioned the Snapdragon 835 processor. And again, over here, it's showing the Plus variant to have 128 gigabytes of RAM. 128 gigabytes of storage and still 4 gigabytes of RAM. But I have been hearing some things about 6 gigabytes. We're just going to have to wait and see. And that's basically it in regards to specs about this device. But I'm going to have to say it does have Qualcomm Quick Charging 3.0 on that. So it has that. It also has that quad DAC on there, so you're going to have really high quality audio on this device, as well as wireless charging. So everything that everyone was complaining about the G6, where certain areas or certain countries would either get the wireless charging and then other countries got the quad DAC, and it was a big complaint and a pain point. They got rid of all that. They're basically putting everything in. They're also partnering with B&O in regards to the headsets that's going to be coming with the G6. And in regards to sound quality, from what I've been hearing so far on the internet, sound quality is far superior than any other device that's out there right now. Let's go to this other tab I have here. So this is actually from LG's website. I think in the United States, we're not going to see many color variants. We're going to have the black version and a silver version, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Oh, and they have this thing. I think it's called Cine or Cine. It's basically it'll allow you to take your raw videos and basically put a lot of different editing software and a lot of different editing tools towards that, as opposed to when you're recording video in the raw and you have to go back and edit it later. You'll probably have to do that on some web-based editing tool. With this, you could do it right here on your device as you're trying to record, so it has some options for that as well, which is pretty cool. I didn't mention either that this is going to be the first in a while OLED screens offered on an LG phone. Usually they like to go with an IPS panel, but this is going to be an OLED panel as well. Here's the silver variant. I think this is the variant I'm going to wind up going with because I'm definitely going to pick up this phone. You have a 6-inch screen, like I mentioned before, IP68 dust and water resistance. And also it has this feature called the control zoom. And I don't know if you're seeing it in the background right now. You could highlight a certain area. You could tap on that area on the phone, and then you'll click that slider that you have here up to the right. And you can control zoom into any area on the screen, so you don't actually have to pan over. You can control zoom to any area, and it's typically things that are left with like hardware, like gimbals and things of that nature, and these panning hardware tools that you might have to help you get that effect. Well, now you could do it straight from the device, so that's something that's pretty cool as well. And then, you know, we already talked about the camera as well. Let's see. And there's something else that I really wanted to mention as well. Pricing. Okay, so I'm hearing pricing is going to be around $730. Okay, so $730 is not bad for a flagship device that has all the hardware features that this device has and all the software tricks that this device have. It's a top-notch device. The camera, it's at this point seems like it's going to be one of the best cameras out there. And the screen, the display, and everything on here seems to be amazing. Now, the Note 8, from what a lot of people are saying, it's very boring. It's very lackluster. There's not much to it additionally than what it had on the Note 7, other than that dual camera setup and a couple of software tweaks. But they're selling this device, the cheapest carrier right now, I think is T-Mobile, for $930. So I believe LG is going to be offering this device somewhere around $700 and change. So to have a device that's comparable on the flagship level to the Note 8, if not better than the Note 8, with the exception, I believe, of the 2 gigabytes of RAM and the stylus, if that's something that you're really into. I've had a lot of Note devices before, and I barely use the stylus at all. I used it a few times. It does come in handy when you're trying to go to a web page and kind of click on something that's very small in the corner. It is handy, but it's not a necessity, and it's not something that would make or break me purchasing a device. So with that being said, let me get your thoughts and your comments in regards to the LG V30. Is this a device that you think you might be picking up, but it's hitting a lot of marks for me? Price-wise, decently priced. Spec-wise, decently spec'd. Camera-wise, arguably one of the best cameras that are going to be out there this year. And just an overall package and aesthetically, I think it looks really nice. I think it's a lot better looking than the V20, even though some people would say they like the V20's like industrial look better. I just think it looks a lot better than the V20. A lot better than the G6, and it's finally at that point, at that refinement point, where aesthetically I think it looks really nice, and it's something that I would have no problem holding it in my hand and not being embarrassed to walk around with it, or have people question you saying, "Ew, what is that?" You know. So if you have any comments, any questions, leave in the comments section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you thinking about picking up the LG V30? Or you think about picking up the Note 8 or any other device that might be coming out shortly or out now? So let me know. Launch off in the comment section below. I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. There's a lot more to come on the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.